In a stunning unanimous decision, the Supreme Court has ruled that the federal government went too far when it prosecuted a Texas man solely for owning a gun while using marijuana regularly. The case United States v. Hemani, decided June 18, 2026, shows that even in our deeply divided country, 9 justices agreed that the government cannot strip away constitutional rights without a much stronger justification than it offered here. 9 Robes uses non-partisan, everyday language to focus on the facts of what the Supreme Court is saying. Here, you'll find clear, concise summaries of every Supreme Court opinion, stripped of legalese and clickbait headlines. Each post breaks down the facts, explains the court's reasoning, and highlights the crucial details that often go unnoticed. It's not just about what the court decided, it's about why those decisions matter. To give you a deeper understanding of the cases that define our nation's legal landscape. These summaries are generated by AI. Be careful and consult reputable sources when in doubt. Ali Hemani is a Texas native and dual U.S. and Pakistani citizen. In 2022, federal agents searched his family home based on terrorism suspicions. Hemani cooperated fully, handing over a firearm and admitting he used marijuana roughly every other day. He was not charged with terrorism, drug dealing, or any act of violence. Instead, the government charged him with the crime of possessing a gun while being a regular marijuana user. He faced up to 15 years in prison and a lifetime ban on owning firearms. The trial court disagreed with the prosecution and threw out the charges. An appeals court agreed. The Supreme Court has unanimously sided with Hemani. The government tried to justify the law by pointing to old American laws that restricted gun ownership for chronic drunkards. These included vagrancy laws and laws allowing courts to commit heavy drinkers to institutions. The government's logic was straightforward. If America has a long history of disarming people who regularly use intoxicants, then disarming regular marijuana users fits that tradition. But the government made a critical claim that troubled the justices. It said it did not need to prove that Hemani's marijuana use actually made him dangerous or impaired his judgment. Simply using a controlled substance regularly was enough to strip him of his gun rights. Justice Gorsuch, writing for 8 justices, explained that the government's historical examples simply did not match Hemani's situation. A founding-era habitual drunkard was someone so consumed by alcohol that they could barely function. Hemani, by contrast, lived a normal life while using marijuana regularly. That gap was too wide to bridge. The old laws also worked differently. They required some kind of process before stripping rights away, such as a court hearing or a conviction. The law used against Hemani stripped rights automatically, with no hearing and no individualized finding that he was actually dangerous. The old laws also served different purposes, like promoting productivity or preventing public scandal, not preventing violence. The court also noted the practicality that the federal government itself had largely stopped enforcing marijuana laws. Most states had legalized marijuana in some form, and the government had reclassified certain marijuana products. Using a law based on outdated drug policy to take away constitutional rights did not make sense. The court was careful to keep its ruling narrow. It did not say the government can never restrict gun ownership based on drug use. Congress could still write a law that requires proof of actual dangerousness, or that more closely matches historical restrictions on people who were genuinely unable to function. What makes this case remarkable is that no justice dissented. Justices Sotomayor and Jackson, who typically support gun restrictions, joined the main opinion. Justices Alito and Kagan, who often disagree, joined together on a narrower reasoning. This unusual lineup shows that prosecuting a cooperative man for having a gun in his home, based solely on marijuana use with no claim he was dangerous, struck every single justice as unconstitutional. Justice Thomas raised a separate concern about whether Congress even has the power to make this a federal crime in the first place. Justice Jackson criticized the historical test the court uses in gun cases, suggesting a better approach would weigh the government's reasons against how much the law burdens gun rights. But these disagreements were about how to explain the ruling, not about the result itself. This decision does not strike down the entire law. It simply says the government cannot use it the way it did against Hemani. Congress still has room to write firearm restrictions connected to drug use, as long as those restrictions are grounded in closer historical comparisons or include some individualized finding that a person is actually dangerous. The ruling reflects a basic principle. A unanimous court agreed the government cannot take away your constitutional rights based on a sweeping theory that requires no proof you actually pose a danger. In Hemani's case, that principle won the day. Find us online at 9robes.ai. That's the number, 9robes.ai. Like and share this podcast with friends that like to be informed. 9 Robes provides AI summaries of U.S. Supreme Court cases. AI makes mistakes. People make mistakes too. We genuinely do our best to provide you with the most accurate summaries, but our best sometimes includes errors.